Okay, we got the critical drinker called a danger to society by Hollywood media. Dang. The critical drinker is under attack. What the hell?
Man, oh man, I am really getting fed up with movie and overall entertainment fans being absolutely politicized in media and labeled as some kind of a political
What is this? At some point, the women involved in universes like the MCU were going to get the green light to push back. Previously, this mainly happened off camera where actresses like Brie Larson, stuff and things. Okay.
extremist, and it's a shame that I have to talk about YouTube movie critics again. However, the recent push against
I saw this episode. This episode was hilarious. Some good points were made. All the normal talking points were made. It was pretty much a 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, it was pretty much like a 4v1 essentially.
criticism against being able to express your own opinion is utterly ridiculous, and there aren't many other people calling it out, and that's fair enough, but I'm definitely going to do my job and help call out the utter disgraceful push against movie criticism.
Oh, dang.
Because once again, I was enjoying my morning coffee.
Like, I don't know why, like, movie criticism is so held in high standard. Like I understand that, like, the internet is like more of a thing now than it was back then, because when I was younger, I still listened to like movie critics, but like the main people I listened to was like, who were those two dudes, like Ebert and, like, what was it, Roger Ebert and like something Roper or something. I fucking forgot, but it was like the two dudes and they were like buddies or whatever, and they had their little like spot in the newspaper and shit like that, and they're just like, they give this review on that movie, this review on that movie, and that's how I got my movie reviews. I don't really understand why critiquing movies nowadays is, I don't know, so bad. Like, if you give a negative review on a movie, it's like, oh, you're damaging society. Oh God, Jesus Christ.
When I stumbled upon
Disney defeats critics after bruising battle. What a joke.
one of the most aggravating and disrespectful articles I may.
Yeah, this title. Jesus Christ, this is so stupid. Bruising battle. Like, they're in the fucking, like, the Thunderdome, like, battling it out. Like, my critique is worth it. No, it's not. It's nothing. I need to cancel you. It's so stupid.
Have ever read, as it was about Disney apparently defeating the critics, and these critics, like myself,
the debate coincided with pressure Disney has been under from right-wing activists who have accused the firm of going woke. Jesus, bro, it's not just right-wing activists. Like, there is like a degree with like lefty person and righty person. Like, everybody is pretty much under agreement that like Disney movies suck nowadays.
critical drinker and nerdrotic being quote-unquote right-wing activists. And YouTube movie critics over the last few weeks have constantly been slammed as some kind of a political activist, as some kind of an extremist, when in reality all we're doing is calling out bad storytelling. And the reason I think they continue to label us as political activists and political commentators is because it makes it seem like we don't know what we're talking about from a story perspective, especially when it comes to the critical drinker, who has one of the biggest platforms of any of the movie critics, and they try and diminish him by saying that he just cares about politics and doesn't look at movies from a storytelling angle and only cares about
the message.
The message. Oh my God, bro. I think Critical Drinker really nailed the nail on the head, hit the nail on the head with that little quote, because it's much the same way that the Act Man named or coined the phrase modern gaming, with all the fucking live service, free to play, battle pass, high cost cosmetics, so on and so forth thing with modern gaming. And so we got, for gaming, we got modern gaming, and for movies, we got The Message. Oh my god.
When in reality, he's probably a far more successful writer than many Hollywood screenwriters are themselves.
Oh,
but
shit.
they continue to ignore that fact and continue to try and diminish his critiques as
I didn't know he was a writer. Oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I should go read some of his books or some shit.
just some right-wing extremist. But more on this later, as first let's go to a quick word from today's sponsor. So given the fact that a lot of my audience are men over the age of 30, I can imagine that a fair few of you guys are starting to deal with hair loss. So that's why I wanted to introduce you guys to Keeps,
Is that me?
as they allow you to get professional hair loss treatment from the comfort of your own home without ever visiting a doctor's office or a pharmacy. And they delivered these treatments right to your front door in discreet packaging, thus allowing you the privacy that we all deserve when it comes to our own body.
Bro, I think my hair is the hairline kinda be going, but not that much. Like, I'm not in a fucking position to where people give a shit on how I look or whatever, so I don't think this really matters to me. I'm fine with losing my hair. It's whatever.
And Keeps has been clinically proven to work, and that's why most Keeps men notice results within 6 months of treatment. So whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just take better care of the hair that you have, Keeps definitely has you covered. Which is why Keeps is so loved and trusted, and has over 5,000 5-star reviews. So if you want to join the over 1 million men that have treated their hair loss with Keeps, head to keeps.com/JesseGrant to get a special offer. However, individual results may vary. So thank you to Keeps for sponsoring this video, but for now, let's get back to it. So look,
All right.
I think something really needs to be said about this whole push against movie critics and trying to call us political extremists, because even though I can only speak for myself here, I definitely feel like the critical...
Why is it that all of the quote-unquote, what do you call it? Where was it? It was back a little bit. Where was that screen?
to call...
Why is it that everybody on here is seemingly a right-wing activist? Where are all the left-wing activists praising the movies, saying the opposite of all these guys? I mean, are they where are they at? Because seemingly this is only what, one half of the community, or one half of the argument, and it's where's the other half then? Can I hear from them on why a movie is good and all that shit? Where are they?
Us political extremists, because even though I can only speak for myself here, I definitely feel like the critical drinker is in the same boat, where we aren't political commentators, we only talk about movies. Now that being said, if a movie tries to say that it's a good film solely because of its politics and its messaging, when the writing and overall filmmaking just sucks, then it's our job to call that out, and it's our job to say, hey, look, your movie actually isn't that great because the character development isn't there, the CGI sucks, the cinematography sucks,
Yeah, I mean, dude, this happens with anything that you create and you put out into the world, into the public. I don't know why Disney thinks they should be immune to this or whatever. Anything you make and create to be consumed in public is probably going to be met with at least some degree of criticism, be it good or bad. So, even with me and my stupid little react videos, it's people I've got comments where it's oh, you suck at reacting, you know nothing, and blah blah blah, and it's yeah, sure, okay, and then I just keep going. But I mean, I am not the size of Disney, so I mean, I take criticism and I try to make things better. Every video, at least I try to. But Disney is just doing their own thing. Disney is in their own little bubble. It's like Disney is in their own little bubble with like making movies and shit, but the commentators, like the movie critics, are just like out here in like the public. And they're just like saying what they say. And to some degree, like people will agree with them, and maybe to some other degree, certain people will disagree with them. But I think largely what all those commentators talk about in regards of like good or bad movies, I think they're pretty credible. They're usually spot on.
Pacing sucks, and so forth. We have to look at a movie from the filmmaking and storytelling elements first before any kind of politics.
Yeah, like a lot of those commentators or whatever that you saw before, they usually, most of their videos are made with the primary goal of critiquing like the story and whether or not it's good or bad.
And if we were to only care about the politics, then we wouldn't be doing our job properly. And that's why studios like Disney, in my opinion, aren't doing their job properly, because they're continuing to put politics and ideology above the storytelling elements themselves when...
Yeah, and this is just like another thing. People, like the audience, people do not want to be talked at or talked down to. People don't want to have ideas, like people don't want to be told what to think. People want to like think however they want to. Like with Disney, like putting out all like their movies and whatever message they're like putting out or whatever, like it seems, at least to me, that the ideas that they're pushing are just fucking stupid.
That's what some media publications are trying to accuse critics of doing, but in reality, it's really these movies that are doing it. And why the critical drinker can definitely not be called a right-wing extremist is because he holds both sides accountable in the exact same way.
Yeah.
And that's why when he reviewed the Daily Wire's movie Lady Ballers, he critiqued the fact that they also allowed their own politics to come before the story, and that's what resulted in the movie not being that great.
The core premise of the movie, that men competing against women gives them an unfair advantage and risks pushing female athletes out of their own sports, is something that's been tackled already, and arguably better, in shows like South Park.
Yeah.
The difference is that while South Park tends to present both sides of an issue and mocks the extreme elements of them before committing to a fairly balanced compromise, Lady Ballers comes down squarely on one side of the issue by pushing it to its most absurd conclusion: two teams of men pretending to be women so they can compete against each other in the final match, before hitting the reset button on the whole thing.
So we literally gave...
I didn't even know this movie existed. Lady Ballers. Is this supposed to be like a comedy movie, or just like a little I don't know, what do you call it, like a social commentary on the social issues or some shit in the basketball scene?
Gave the same argument to both sides. However, only one side is continuing to be looked at by the media, and they try and paint this picture of YouTube movie critics only being political. And why I find this topic the most important topic to talk about online right now is because movie criticism is arguably just as important as movies themselves, and let me explain. So firstly, movie critics protect the audience's wallets.
Yeah.
Because I would argue that millions of people have been saved from losing money on a movie that isn't worthwhile due to YouTube movie critics' reviews. Because they would see a review before they go and watch the film, and if the review says the movie isn't good and it isn't worth you spending your own money, then they don't go to the cinema to watch it, and they just wait till it comes onto streaming. And that's a good thing, and that's...
Yeah, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with waiting until it comes onto the little stream service? People are already spending like $15-20 a month plus on like 5, 6, 7, 8 different streaming services. Every movie eventually will hit some streaming service. So why not just wait? I mean, yeah, you can make the argument of, oh, the theater is like the theater experience and it's very unique, and, you know, with like the surround sound, the big screen and whatnot. But I mean, I would agree that like the theater experience is like nice to have once in a while. just to be like engulfed, but I don't want to like waste it on like a turd of a movie by any means. But how could I know that if a movie is good or bad without seeing like a quick little like thing and like this movie's good, this movie's bad. Like when I saw like certain movies that I saw in theaters that were like fucking amazing. I wish I could get this like feeling back as like Mad Max Fury Road in theaters, freaking awesome. What was it? There were a couple more, but that was one that I really remember. 300. 300 in theaters was fucking crazy. That hit completely different. But I mean, like you could like look back at the reviews, like even when the movie comes out or whatever, and it's like, yeah, this movie is great. Go see it in theaters. So it's like, yeah, I'll go see it in theaters then.
It's a very important element of movie critiquing, but it also goes both ways. If a movie is amazing, then the critic is going to praise the hell out of that movie, and that will result in millions of people flocking to the cinema to help support a good story. So it goes both ways, it's completely fair, and it's very important because it helps protect people from losing money on something that doesn't deserve it. And yes, that would annoy many filmmakers and many studios out there, because you could make the argument that one bad review from the critical drinker could result in millions of dollars of losses at the box office. But you have to ask the question, who needs the protecting? The filmmakers and producers who, regardless how the movie performs at the box office, still got paid a salary to make the movie, or the cinema fan that pays his own hard-earned money to watch the film?
Well, you're giving up two things when you go to watch a movie in theaters. You're giving up your money. You're also giving up your time as well. So, yeah. But on the other side, the movie makers give their time. They receive a paycheck to make a product, put it out there, and yeah, I mean, it's your time. It's your energy, if you go to the theaters, you got all those fucking prices and shit for like the food and the drink that are like astronomical. It's like fucking $3 or $4 for a fucking bottle of water. It's like, that's so ridiculous. Get the hell out of here. For fucking $4, $5, I can go get a case of water. Stupid. It's just like certain things about the theater are good, and then certain other things are just like stupid, make no sense to me.
And I would say that in today's economic climate, it's most definitely the audience members that need the protection from losing money. And now to the second reason why movie criticism is so damn important. We're here to challenge the industry. Because look,
push movies
I wouldn't
forward.
be mad at Disney for making utter garbage if I didn't know that they could do so much better. As all I wanted...
Oh yeah, that what was it? This movie will probably never get made live action. I have no idea, because, the trend with Disney is like make a live action version of like all the cartoon movies to keep the IP so it doesn't go into the public space and whatever. But yeah, I don't think this movie will ever get made because it's like a deformed dude. And he's like sad and shit. It's like, how do you make that into like live action? I don't know. And like on top of it, like wasn't it like in this movie, like some people are like saying that like Esmeralda is like depicted as like a sexual object or whatever, and it's like she's too sexy for the like a Disney movie and all that shit. It's like I don't really get, like when I saw this movie and I watched it as a kid, I don't really remember Esmeralda being like super sexy. As a little kid, I was just like mindlessly watching the movie.
As all I want to do in this job is hold an industry that I love so much accountable to being as good as it
Yeah, and I don't know. Did Pocahontas get a live action remake yet? I don't think so, because yeah, it's like Indians and white people. Yeah, I don't think this will ever get a live action remake because it would be way too touchy or edgy for Disney.
definitely can be, because when Disney churned out amazing movies year after year for over a decade, over 2 decades, I loved it, and they proved that they could make a good story. They proved that they could create great pieces of art, and that's why over the recent years when they've released horrible films, I've been so let down, so angry, and continue to attack them for it, because I already know that they can do so much better, and they have the opportunity to create true diverse films that are actually good the way that they used to, like The Princess and the Frog, like Black Panther, and hell, like the Avengers themselves.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, great art has the power to improve our world and make a huge difference, so I'll never apologize for holding movies to a higher standard and not accepting utter mediocrity and laziness. Because at the moment, lazy filmmaking is running rampant, and if you're going to release a movie...
I mean, from like Disney perspective, I mean, it does seem like they are being lazy. They're just simply like retelling the same story. And like, what was it in the case of Lion King? Somebody did like a comparison of like scene by scene. It was like almost exactly the same. The only difference was like one's a cartoon and one is like 3D. So the story was like literally not unchanged. I don't know. So like, what are you doing at that point? Like, you don't have to change the story up too much for it to be like a complete different thing or whatever. But like, why do you got to change like certain things about a movie and not change seemingly nothing about other movies?
Movie in the same Hollywood industry that made classics like East of Eden, Empire Strikes Back, and Silence of the Lambs, you better put 110% of your effort into your craft and make the movie the best you can make it. And now look, I'm not saying every single film needs to be as good as Empire Strikes Back, but what I am saying is that
I think a better comparison would be, you know, a lot of these movies that he's like name dropping is like, none of these movies, like the good movies, are like above reproach. There's issues with like all of the early Star Warses. There's issues with Lord of the Rings, and everybody thinks Lord of the Rings is the fucking shit. You know, the first 3 or whatever. Like, you know, where were the Eagles from the fucking beginning? Like, none of them are like perfect stories, but like they come pretty dang close to like being like great perfect stories. Yeah.
Single film needs to have the same amount of effort and hard work put in, because films are so important, because movie fans out there do spend their own hard-earned money on these projects, and if you only put in 20% of your effort, if you use lazy gimmicks, if you don't actually try and create a masterpiece, then you're honestly just stealing money from people. And so unfortunately, cheap political marketing,
Figuratively stealing money from people. Yeah, whenever you put in like not a lot of effort into your movie, it just does, like, I don't know, it seems like the audience can kind of tell like if there like a lot of effort was put in. I would like to think the audience is like getting like maybe a little bit smarter, but like who knows, to be honest.
gimmicks.
The only numbers that you can really go off of are like what was it, like the how much the movie made in like the opening weekend and for like the first month, like it's in its entirety. Like, is that number like up or down compared to like years ago?
Aren't going to cut it for me or any other serious movie critic, because politics aside, all a movie critic should criticize is the storytelling, the cinematography, the performances, the character development, and if politics gets in the way of those problems, then we have to call that out. But what are your thoughts on this? Let me know down below in the comments. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all on my next video.
Like, you can do politics in a movie if it's done the right way and it's not contrived and forced in there in like a weird way. Like, look at how awesome, what was it, Top Gun Maverick was. You know, it's a bunch of, wasn't it like Americans or whatever? Like, Maverick doing the whole teaching of the newbies how to like fly a plane and what their objective is. But like, nobody ever really knows what like the enemy country is. It's just like some shadow country. It's the bad guy country. So that way they can like play the movie everywhere and whatnot. So like you can have politics in your movie if it's done in a tasteful way. But it just so happens that, you know, with Disney, it's like it's tasteless. The tastelessness of it is kind of stupid. But I mean, I liked the video. I think it was good. Um, I mean, as far as like the movie commentators and critics like being under fire and shit like that, I mean, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm just a casual, like watching everything on the outside. You know, I'm gonna keep watching, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, see ya.